Testing, testing. I can't hear you if you can hear me. Testing, testing. There you go.
Yeah, I started wondering where you were. Then I said, let me read and see if something went down. And I said, yeah, he did try to call me. I didn't see nothing going on. But now my shit, so it's the OBS studio that's doing that, huh?
Yeah, you don't need OBS though. You don't need it.
I know, but that would be, I'm not running it. At least,
Really?
well, I do have it on.
Yeah, cut it off because you won't. I got to find out why that sound is being muted. While OBS Studio is running.
While it's running.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely got to find out why that sound is being. And it only happens when OBS is running. Only happens when OBS is running.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I went live a couple minutes ago. I just got the disclaimer up there right now because I said I'm gonna wait for you to call and so forth like that. Oh, by the way, did you well we'll talk about it when we go live and shit. Yeah, that was Daryl. He had wrong address and shit to some of those packages going down Florida. Oh my goodness! And you can't. There's nobody you can talk to on the phone either.
Get more push that way.
I don't know what happened. What you just did, volume went down considerably.
My volume did?
Okay, it's back up now.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't hear.
Yeah. I just clicked on your I was on the wrong one.
Yeah, make sure you got the volume down all the way down, muted on your whatchamacallit too. On your YouTube. Yep. Yeah, we'll finish discussing that swing later.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about another problem I was having.
What's that?
I can see my Bollinger Bands over top of my footprint summary on one chart, but on the other chart, my footprint summary, which I don't like, is on top of my Bollinger Band when it gets down there. And I was trying to figure out exactly what in the world was that stopped it from being opaque, because I wanted to definitely make it like my main chart. Because when I see the Bollinger Bands go down at the summary table, I don't worry about it because I can still see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, like the feature of always on top.
Right, right.
Well, that didn't work. Then I said I need to look up the definitions of gradient versus solid, because maybe that's what it is, but I changed everything to gradient. That didn't necessarily work.
All right, let me hit this mic. Let me unmute this mic. Make sure everything's working all right. Unmute it, unmute it, unmute it, unmute it. Okay, we're live. We are live. We are live. Just trying to get a couple things out the way. That's about it. All right, what reports we got coming out today, man? I don't think nothing important is coming out today. Well, everything is always important. IMF, that's low impact, 10:15. Crude oil inventories, 10:30. I don't think I'm going to be affected. We got the Beige book comes out at 2 o'clock. That's for the bonds. That's about it. That's about it. That is about it. Okay, guys. One thing I wanted to show you was something I had stumbled upon last night. Good morning to all. Good morning to all. Let's get this on and popping. Morning. Let's get this on and popping. Here's the tip of the day. And this is for, I just realized this last night when I was going through some new things under Ninja Trader, which a couple nights ago, I just totally unloaded everything and or uninstalled everything and reloaded everything with the newest version. I am having no problems at all so far. So let me show you what I stumbled upon. And this is for you guys who want to see what is, when you click on new, let's start from the beginning. When you click on new up there at the top in your control panel, go down to NinjaScript output. This is the window that's going to pop up in NinjaScript output. In NinjaScript output, when you hit your right mouse button, a menu pops up. When that menu pops up, NinjaScript Utilization Monitor pops up. When you click on Utilization Monitor, this is the window that pops up. And this is showing you whatever you got running in Ninja Trader, what resources are using, what Ninja Trader is using resources at the most. Okay? So when you look at this and that magic, I don't know what are you showing, because from the video what I saw was if you got indicators, see these indicators down here that I have running? That's the stuff that's supposed to be low priority. Everything down here is supposed to be low priority. So low priority is basically stuff that really not supposed to impact your Ninja Trader that much. And then it gets higher as you look, or as it starts to go up right here. I got TDU footprint, I got profile bars, then I got OrderFlow, Mike Valto's OrderFlow, and then so on and so forth. So the higher.
What's that number you're running a TDU footprint?
Well, this is just accumulating over time. But my
right.
TDU,
what is that time that you have on that?
This is 286. 286. I've been running it for a minute. So if I hit close, right, If I hit close and then go down again and reactivate that window, then it just those milliseconds just start accumulating. But that's what basically is taking up most of my resources is my TDU footprint. Then I got profile bars, then order flow and so forth. But the thing is, you shouldn't have no line, no trend lines or nothing like that. You got trend lines or something like that, or drawing. And I think Magic, your when you start putting a lot of drawings on your charts, then that starts to take up a lot of resources.
That answers a lot of things. We thought that in the first place, but now I see it visually,
Right.
where every line you draw takes up space. Because that was the one thing that kind of caught my eye. I said, okay, so each particular line, so that means also each particular alert that you lay out there as well has got to be working those lines.
Right. Right. And you can see the resources that this starts to basically take up. So that's just a little tidbit for the day. That's just a little tidbit for the day. Thought you guys, some of you guys would kind of like that. If you missed that tidbit for the day, you can always hit the rewind button or backtrack on this video to see how you bring this particular window up. But this little tidbit for the day basically tells you the resources that your NinjaTrader is using and what's at priority for NinjaTrader and the least priority, the lower the number gets. So that's the tip for today. We are now open. What you see before you on the charts, I have Valto's OrderFlow footprint running. I have TDU. I have my TDU running. We're at constant. Right now we are at 5,800 plus 5,800 on the Cume. So I have my TDU running. And on the other monitor, this is TDU running with Bollinger Bands. And then I have my profile footprint running on another one. And eventually when things slow down, because things are starting to pick up now, I'm going to go back and look at a signal yesterday and show you what each one of these footprints were signaling right around 12 noon when the market started to take off. So that is, I think that's all I have to say for right now. Let's get into the swing of things.
Mm-hmm. Pardon the pun.
Right. Got the Dow Jones.
Good morning. Good morning.
Dow Jones is up 120. NASDAQ is up 73. So Magic, what's your lag looking like also?
It picked up. Doesn't look good.
What you sitting at?
I'm getting ready to I'm getting ready to do a little experiment here.
My lag is sitting at 0.03, 0.04 right now.
No. I'm not.
Yours
not
picked up
running
more
like
than that?
Yeah.
Okay, for some of you guys that are new to the trading room, there are no secrets here. We're just, everybody's running some type of footprint chart. And I thought I would just like start a trading room so, we can discuss footprint. Everybody looks at footprint differently. You're going to get an idea of how I look at the footprint. You're going to get an idea. Magic looks at the footprint a little differently. And if you guys have any input, I'd be happy to, read what you have to say in the chat box as far as how you like looking at the footprint stuff, because there is no particular rules written in stone at how to look at a footprint. On my TDU footprint, I am running TDU Trade Devil's footprint, and I'm running KISS OrderFlow on top of Trade Devil's footprint. The reason why I am running KISS OrderFlow on top of the footprint is because KISS OrderFlow has something that the Trade Devil doesn't have. I am running 3 different footprints because each footprint is telling me something different. I am not running anything that's redundant. I'm not trying to run a backup here, backup of a backup of a backup. And I'll show you what I'm looking at on each footprint, right? Now on the Trade Devil footprint, I have KISS OrderFlow running on top of the footprint. The reason why I have KISS OrderFlow running on top of TDU footprint is because I like to see this delta number when the volume is greater than the last bar. When volume is greater than the last bar, it puts a delta number on top of it.
Be very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
It puts a delta number on top of the bar or a delta number on bottom of the bar. And that's comparing the volume, the current volume, to the last bar's volume. If the bar is greater than the last bar, then you'll get a print. And as you can see down here, the volume right now is plus 3,700 and counting up, but the last volume was 2,000. And you see, and the delta is on top with that. So I kind of like to see higher delta when the volume is greater than the last bar, or higher or lower delta, or just see delta period when the volume is greater than the last bar. So that's the reason why I'm running KISS OrderFlow on top of, because I get to compare the numbers. And I'll show you how I compare the numbers as some trades are starting to pop off, or some other trades are starting to pop off, and that's with the TDU and KISS OrderFlow. Now, with the Valtos, I just was able to get this started running like a couple of days ago. I've always had problems with the Valtos program, and this is basically what I'm looking at in Valtos. I'm looking at the POC wave. I'm looking at price action divergence. I'm also looking at passive buyers and sellers.
Be very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
I think I'm gonna disable. I thought I disabled that. I'm going to, and this gold bar or this gold arrow is passive buyers and sellers. If it's on the bottom, it's passive buyers. If the signal's on top, it's passive sellers. So, and I also look at numbers also. I just don't look at the signals. I kind of like to look at the numbers and take everything in context. So that's Valtos, the Valtos chart. And then we have the chart up at the top, which is what Magic uses. Magic, you can explain to them how you use your chart.
I tend to look at a lot of what he looks at, but at the same time, because I am a pullback trader and I believe in edge trading, I use the Bollinger Bands quite a bit. In the background, what you can't see is I'm running a dashboard or a panel of multi-time frame charts from the 6R on up to the 48R, and trying to determine basically from those charts what my bias is, as well as what my locations are. And then I'm using FootPrint on top of that to give me more of an immediate timing as far as entry signals or even exits if things aren't going the way they should to. So it's kind of always understanding that FootPrint, as effective as it is, can be used as a standalone in a lot of situations, but it's a very good layering tool as far as an indicator is concerned. It is an indicator, it's not a chart. So for me, a lot of this is about relationships in time, using the same type of an indicator, because I I use the Bollinger Bands on every chart just about that I run, that I'm looking as far as that type of relationship. Today being not quite, are we inside today? It looks like we're still inside of yesterday's range. But in that case, for instance, my approach to the markets tend to be a little bit different. I tend to look at Bollinger Bands as more of a springboard of a point to take more of a counter trade, calling it trading on the edges. As long as the bands are going somewhat sideways, it presents opportunities. Most times when you get to those bands, it tends to give you a very good reaction that's tradable. So then if you layer the footprint on top of that, and you get extreme volume, or you get a comparison from one pivot or another where you find that there's less sellers, that tends to be more my game, a comparison relationship type of trading. It leaves room for a lot of discretion, but as long as your bias is correct and your money management tends to match what you're doing, it tends to be relatively successful.
And what we're doing here is basically, we're not giving you a system. We're just, everybody's approach is going to be different from, what you see. We're just giving ideas here. This is no system. This is nothing etched in stone. You do this. If you see this, you do this. Everything, you got to use your discretion and take everything into context what the market is doing. Are we going side? Are we trending up? Are we going sideways? Are we trending down? And that's how we approach the market. And, we're always open to conversation and so forth. So anytime anybody has anything to say, just let it rip. We're listening. We're listening. Another chart, another footprint I look at is the profile bars. This is another footprint. And the reason why I like looking at this is because it has, if you notice on top of the bars, it has what you call power meters on bottom and top. The green on the bottom meaning it's a power meter. It's giving you buy signal or telling you how strong that particular bar is as far as buyers is concerned. And that'll be vice versa on the top. Also, this guy is tracking momentum, right? Momentum of the cum delta. And I kind of like that. And as you can currently see, the third row from the bottom is giving you the momentum of the cum delta. The second row from the bottom is the average, which you can change that number to whatever you want, the average of the momentum of the cum delta. That average, I have it set at 3 days on the first one. The CDA2, I have that set at 5, not 5 days, but 5 bars. So the second from the bottom is a 3 bar average. The very last row is a 5 bar average of the momentum, the cum delta momentum. And I kind of like looking at that along with a couple of other things he has running. And I just started looking at this like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So this is just something I kind of like to look at on the side. And I'll show you some signals on this particular footprint, But by all means, if you're running a footprint now, I'm not saying, and Magic is not saying, run and get this footprint, run and get that footprint. This is only ideas of what we're looking at. So this right here, this is a profile. Magic likes looking at TDU with Bollinger Bands. I like looking at TDU with the KISS OrderFlow on top. And I also like looking at the Valtos footprint. Michael B., how you doing today, buddy? So, yeah, this is we're just looking at different footprints because each footprint gives me something different. So if one footprint isn't giving a particular signal, most likely the other footprint is. And what I tried to do with the difference with Trade Devil and Mike Valto's footprint is I'm trying not to run a lot of things that basically, basically a copy. So if I'm looking at Valto's, I have the PLC wave running with a couple other things, which the TDU does not have. So, like I said, each footprint is doing something different.
And again, that's kind of what we're trying to do on the channel anyway. Give you more ideas of how you would imagine footprint with whatever it is you're using right now. I mean, if you're here to look for a system, even better. We're not going to give you the system, but we'll give you some ideas that may formulate something that fits you, because really the best system is the one that you make.
Right.
And believe it or not, everybody that looks for that holy grail eventually comes to that particular point. That's what the holy grail is. But you may hear me during the day most times say more of looking at an area. If you like shorts in a certain area, then this would be one of the ideal spots as far as the location is concerned. That's because I'm looking at a small time frame and I'm looking at a large time frame all at the same time. And a lot of times when you're seeing the world go long but you like the shorts, there's nothing wrong with that. You see something. So these bands on a multi-time frame may also be something that you can use. Everything here is about a new idea, hopefully. Eventually I'll have this dashboard finished that, you can get a better idea of really where my head is when it comes to footprint. Right now I'm running a 12R chart with Bollinger Bands, which is what I consider to be a working chart. And I think I said something about an inside day. I do favor the upside because, of course, our cum delta today, which is one of the things that that Top Step and I agree upon. If you've got a preponderance of evidence, so to speak, and that's cum delta, where buyers are definitely in control, you don't want to go against that flow. Doesn't mean you can't take a short, but you may want to take a short with caution. You may want to shorten your targets. You may want to lessen your exposure to the trade, however you want to do that. But this is all about ideas and how you can better what you do already. So if you're a half-ass trader, get ready to become a better one than that. If you're already decent, listen up. One of these days, I would say once a day at least, there's a gem that you can pick up that you probably can include in your trading, or at least consider when it comes to a stop, a target, an entry for that matter. Because believe it or not, Top Step and I don't trade anything alike. Days like this with this sideways action, I'm like licking my lips. And he's most likely got time to talk to you all day because he's not looking for a trade. So environments has a lot to do with when we're most active as well. So hopefully this can bring you some sort of ideas that you can take away. And again, open up your comments. I don't have the answers all the time, but from what I've seen so far in the community, we're starting to get people that can answer even better than we can. Hopefully that helps.
Michael B., I think you got some questions. Let me see. Do you ever use Delta on only? This heart is in the way. I wish I can get this heart out the way, man.
He loves you.
No, it's a whatchamacallit here that's covering the that's covering the words. Do you only use Delta on only the bars? Yeah, I that's why I'm looking at, if you notice down here on the let's go back to this chart on my TDU. If you notice down here on my TDU chart, on the Trade Devil, I see Delta. I have Delta running on the top, Min Delta on the second, Max Delta on the third, Cum Delta on the fourth, and volume. So yeah, I am always looking at the Delta and looking for certain thresholds when it's applicable. So That's how I use delta. But and I found myself, just using only the delta. You'll probably use something more than that. I don't know what else you're looking at with your footprint, but the delta is just definitely something that accommodates the other things that I'm using. And Fly Guy asked something about volume profile. I was into volume profile at one time, but I found myself that when I go and I haven't incorporated the volume profile yet with my with the delta studies that I'm using. And I think I almost want to say that's a different rabbit hole, because I find that people who look at the volume concentrate on volume, and people who concentrate on the delta only look at the day. Only time I look at the volume is when I'm seeing, was that volume greater than the last bar, and what's that delta showing? And then I'll start looking at the delta numbers from that point on. So no, I very seldom load up volume profile. Very seldom. Oh, you're talking about Michael B said, I mean delta on the bars instead of the trades. I tried adjusting to that. I couldn't. I had hard times, man. Tell me a way to make it easier, because I tried that. Matter of fact, I have a couple of templates set up with just looking at delta on the bars, and I couldn't adjust to it. For some reason, I'd rather look at the volume on the bars instead of the delta. But yeah, I do have a couple of templates, if I do still have them on my computer, where I tried adjusting to delta on the bars.
I gotta at least qualify this one. After I get overloaded with too many numbers, I tend to shut down, and not necessarily quit, but my concentration level goes away. For me, formations, location, condition are the three things that kind of hit me before I make any decisions on footprint. Because if I continually look at numbers on footprint, I drive myself crazy. What is important, if you look through footprint enough, there's about 1,000, I'm not going to exaggerate, there's at least 300 footprint combinations that you can put together and actually mean something and measure something different, which is really the goal of everything. Every time you put something on your chart, you want it to measure that area, and you want another measurement on your chart. In other words, if you're measuring delta, you want to be measuring volume after that, and after that you may want to have something that's an oscillation, and then you want an overbought, oversold. What you want with all of those is have some sort of confluence. Now your condition, your location, everything gets confirmed from the confluence that you see in the numbers. But if I tried really concentrating, especially inside of the bars, because there's a lot of stories being told inside of that bar. So I had to realize, instead of staying inside the bar, concentrate on the outside bid and the outside ask, which, of course, would be your single prints. But when you tell me to look inside the bar and find a zero print, I've got a big problem to do that. So for me, I don't want too many signals. I don't want too many signs. What you're really trying to do is eventually look at all of them and streamline what it is that really means a lot to you. And a person that trades, a person that tends to trade inside a lot on inside days, or do range bound trading, let's say, is not going to be looking at the same thing a person that's a breakout trader, so to speak. So footprint is about what floats your boat. Now, you asked about delta numbers at the bottom. The ones that concern me the most are the ones that are pivots, because if you're making, let's say you're a divergence trader and you have a lower low and you're comparing two pivots that you find are what you're measuring in just plain divergence, and then you look at FootPrint and you find there's finishing on the min and rising delta and a confluence of a lot of things you want to see, as well as high volume or a spike in volume, and now you got location at a Bollinger Band. All of a sudden things just make a lot of sense to you as far as pushing the button. So really, again, how you use that delta, quite honestly, I may say something that you never thought about, as well as top step. And that's really, and hopefully you say something that because it's happened already, someone's made some points in here about FootPrint, and I said, you know, I never thought about using it that way. And that's really the bottom line of the channel at this point. I do want to bring out one thing since I've been talking. I said this was an inside day and I have an upward bias, but I don't know if you've noticed that during these times, go back to the chart with Bollinger Bands, but I don't know if you've noticed that it's getting real hard. The range gets expansive, but we're staying on the inside day, and every time we seem to get up to one of the bands or down to one of the bands, there's some sort of hesitation, some sort of ripping price in the opposite direction. Very hard to dictate what direction you really want to stay in. This type of environment tends to create entries that don't always give you follow through, which is why I call it edge trading. You want to trade down in this area to go to the upside, and on the upside you want to trade down off of the bands. And hopefully you've had 2 or 3 winners by the time the loser catches you. So that's really the idea of this. Is not to be perfect, but it is to play the condition that's in front of you at the time. Now, should we break out to the upside from yesterday's lows or yesterday's highs, the entire picture changes. So again, we're looking at different time frames as well. I don't want you to think that this is the end all and be all. Top step tends to stay between the 12 and 15, mostly the 12 now, I think. Is that right?
Yep.
I tend to run more of a multi-time frame system in the background that kind of gives me some context just on what condition I am in, as well as what type of bias I might have for the day. So right now, because of 10K in cumulative delta going on, I would be more or less interested in buying at the bands on the bottom, more so than selling the ones at the top. That would be kind of my strategy for the day, until proven differently. Let me pre-qualify that, and please, not on a not held basis.
But yeah, Michael B. Yeah, I actually thought about only using the delta on the bars. So yeah, that's still in the works. That is definitely still in the works. And yes, Mike Valtos, he talks about that all the time. But I get the impression, and I do go to, I'm in this class probably maybe 2 days, not 2 days, yeah, but 2 days out of the month of his 4 weekly or monthly things that he has. I mean, I usually try to catch at least 2 of them a month, and a lot of times he's using volume, but and I'm pretty sure with his other screens, yes, with his other screens, he might be having a delta bar on one of his other screens. I have seen him use it in exhibition now.
Yeah, there's always a leak, you know, because at one point in time he said he was using minute bars only. And then we found out that he did, it tended to flip a little bit, because everybody that trades is also curious. You can't help but look at another time frame, another indicator, another enhancement, whatever it is you're looking for.
Yeah, he doesn't flip, but I'm pretty sure he's running several different time frames and different kinds of things on stuff. Because Mike Valtos, man, he has so much information. Every time I listen to him, I learn something new. So, you know, that's the delta bars. I have not incorporated them yet, but I have been looking at them. I haven't had put it this way, I haven't had an aha moment with his delta bars yet. So yeah, that's definitely on my to-do list. But I'm just becoming so accustomed to uh, looking at volume on the bars that every time I look at a delta, that's another whole rabbit hole. That's another whole rabbit hole that I just haven't gone down yet. So, and I'm pretty sure running delta on the bars, I probably would see something totally a lot different. We're looking at a cum of plus 7,600. I did watch one of his, I caught one of his videos. I think he was talking about cum. And I always like to see that cum start to hit 8,000, 9,000 before I start pulling trades. I saw one of his videos where he was talking about the cum, and I think he said his threshold was 1,000. But what I usually see, and this is just my own personal opinion, is you don't get a lot of follow through when that cum hasn't reached a particular threshold. And at first, my threshold was like 4,000. Then I said, okay, I'll try 5,000, 6,000. But now I'm up to like 7,000 or 8,000 because when I get in a trade, I want to see follow through fast, man. I don't want to be sitting in that trade. And I know you got to be patient. I know you got to be patient and disciplined. But I like to, when I get in a trade, I like to see it move. And I find that when I put on a trade and that cum is real high, you get follow through real quick. Real quick.
Yeah.
And that's just based on the signals that I'm taking. That's just based on the signals that I'm taking.
Like we're getting some juice, some profit taking going on.
I am getting. I had a leaders and laggers. I had a leaders and laggers chart. Guys, bear with me for a minute. Bear with me for a minute. And I think that chart locked up my goddamn locked up my thing. So hold on 1 second. Chart then locked up my fucking system, man. Yeah, sure enough did.
Okay.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me.
We have had technical difficulties for how long now? The last 3 or 4 days, every time we think we've actually ironed it out.
That this chart, I was questioning it when I was questioning it when I loaded it last night, and I know that's what it was. It was that leaders and laggers chart. So
$81.95.
you gotta be kidding me. Come on. I questioned myself when I loaded that leaders and laggers chart up, and I said, I'll try that one, and that's what's freezing up my goddamn on whatchamacallit. Delete that chart as soon as it pop up. What you see on YouTube? One thing I noticed for sure, when you got problems, people have a tendency to jump elsewhere until you get their problems fixed.
Sorry. Yeah. Fly guy, I wanted to ask, did you
He can't
did
hear
you
you.
re
He can't hear you.
really?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
everything. I got everything muted.
Okay. How long have you been muted?
For a minute.
That locked up OBS as well? Or you just stopped
No, I just muted the OBS. I just muted. I didn't want them to hear anything that wasn't meant to be heard.
Okay.
I got one more chart that's calculating, that's loading up.
Yep, Mike said he can hear you.
Oh, he can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thought these mute things don't work.
Hey, glad you got a friend listening to you. While you handle this technical dealing.
Right.
But I did want to ask if Fly Guy is out there, though. I wanted to ask him. I thought he said something about picking up FootPrint package, and I wasn't sure if he did it or if he's still waiting on that, or had he made his mind up about it. What's the deal with that decision?
What package was he thinking about picking up, by the way?
He didn't really say. He was just saying he was interested in picking up a FootPrint package, and I think, we were kind of helping him make some sort of decision as which way he was looking at, because he could have gone 2 or 3 different ways.
Right.
Yeah, we're audio only. Ah, picked it up. Which one did you pick up? TDU, Valtos? Yeah, Fly Guy, make sure you got plenty of coffee in the house because you're going to need some all-nighters with that just to find out what it is you like.
Man, this machine is gonna make me go get that thread ripper that's on sale at Magic Micro.
Oh, boy. Now you're giving Magic Micro a plug.
No affiliation, no affiliation.
They're literally selling the bare bones Threadripper system, case and all,
Yeah,
for what they sold the chip. Well, actually, the chip even was more than that,
by
than what they're
itself
selling
a couple of
everything for.
years
Yeah,
ago.
by
Yeah.
itself.
Yep. Yep. Couple more seconds, guys. Charts are kicking in now.
Get that Pentium 7 going.
Michael B. I'm afraid to ask you your last name. I know of a Michael B. on the internet. I was wondering if you were him. I don't want to put your last name out there. So
All right.
yeah, man. If I had a thread ripper, man, I'd be ripping through these charts with no problem.
I just know you would.
It'd be loading this stuff up in a click of a finger.
I got a lot of conflict. I had a lot of conflict yesterday. It was Big Delta down, if I'm not mistaken, and we were going up. Now today we've got Big Delta up, and we are definitely staying in the middle.
Mike B did used to work used to do things for Sean. Okay, things are kicking in. Things are kicking in.
Great.
Okay, yep. I thought that
Yep.
was you. I thought that was you, man.
I told you to put that mustache on with those glasses. You wouldn't have been recognized.
Yeah, welcome, man. Welcome. I used to come to Sean's room all the time, and listen to you guys all the time. I think you came after I think you came after Raul. Yeah, that was years
After
ago.
Raul.
Man, Raul, man, you know, you and Raul, man, you were one of the only reasons why I used to come to the room. And then, you know, Raul, when Raul left and you left, it's I just wasn't feeling that no more. I wasn't feeling it no more. Oh, I'm ready. Yeah, I had loaded up a particular indicator, and that thing just locked up my whole goddamn system. Sorry about that, guys. We are back on track. We are back on track. So before we rudely got interrupted, I forgot where we were at. I think we were discussing Delta on bars, Mike, and
Talking about Delta on bars.
yeah, I will load. You know what? Now that you have mentioned it, I will load up my template later on this evening, and deal with that. Hey, Mike, shoot me your email, man, if you get a chance. I'm gonna post my email up here, and when you get a chance, man, shoot me your email, man. And Morgan, if you're online, you shoot me your email too. Or anybody else that wants to ask me a question for that matter. But Morgan and Mike B, definitely shoot me your emails. I just posted my email up.
Can't get in his tunnels. Looks like it's losing a little steam down here.
Explain to him what you mean when you're talking about tunnels, Magic.
When I'm looking at tunnels, I'm really referring to the bands on the Bollinger. I learned a long time ago, and they were referred to as tunnels because they put a second deviation on it and a third deviation, and they look like they formed a tunnel. But normally, a lot of times, you can see some exhaustion going on by the fact that as a price is going down, it tends to close. You have closing bars on the opposite side of the tunnel, I'm gonna call it, but the lower Bollinger Band. It comes out and then it retries that bottom again, but on this new low, if you're really looking at the bands itself, just standalone, you're noticing that the pressure isn't coming back into these bands anymore. It's no longer closing below the bands while we're making new lows. So this is that area that FootPrint starts playing a part where, okay, I'm going to look and see where we're going to start gaining buyers, losing sellers, showing exhaustion, showing participation, which are all parts of ending trend and beginning trend. And that's pretty much what we're looking for me in this particular area. And until something happens dramatically, I'm hoping that I'm not jumping in early. But right now, what I'm looking at is a condition and a location. Location being the fact that we don't seem to be we're making new lows, but we're not crushing the bands anymore. So if nothing else, I would look to a rip at least back to the middle of the bands. So when I say something's not getting in the tunnels, a lot of times I'm really describing, from a Bollinger Band perspective, I'm describing exhaustion.
We are hitting a 5-minute fair value gap zone here. Notice it's bouncing off this zone. This is a fair value gap indicator I found online. It seems to be working pretty good. Fair value gap, my gaps are based on 5-minute charts. It's a multi-time frame 5-minute fair value gap. I did post it under one of my videos, so if you guys want to grab that, you're more than welcome. If you don't see it, let me know. I'll post it again under today's videos. I'm getting hesitation here, man. It's like something is trying
Coffee, anyone?
It's like something is trying to load up into Ninja Trader.
From an outside source?
No. I'm getting hesitation on it. Let me see what's taking up. Speaking of, see if I bring up my, yeah, something's trying to load up. I don't know what it is. Bring up that menu. We were just talking about this output thing, and something's taking up resources on my Ninja Trader. I don't know what it is though. See, I got a Acme. It says Acme volume delta. That's nothing but an indicator, and it's having problems loading. So I'm gonna take it off of a couple of charts, and that indicator is not supposed to be taking up those kind of resources. That's what I mean.
Or, hey, good morning. Good morning. Just caught me getting ready to make a coffee break.
Hey Morgan, I was just talking about you, man. I was wondering where you were at. You see my email. You see my email in the chat box. If you get a chance, shoot me your email, man. Acme volume delta. Yep. Seem to be dancing on this support here. QM Delta 7400, and it's at a standstill right now. This is the kind of sideways action I'm talking about. Looking at the QM Delta, and it hasn't even reached my threshold yet, but it's sideways like crazy. I'll check my Discord in a little bit, Mike. Go ahead and talk, Magic. I'm gonna take this phone call.
Yes, sir. Looks like we're trying to break this one more time. We are losing losing some buyers further. We had 5,900 buyers on the pivot at 10:05. We had 7,400 buyers. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong numbers. 7,100. We lost 800 from one pivot to another. Lost another couple of hundred. And now we're down to 5,100. So we started this whole thing at around 7,500 on the runs. Still bothers me. Can't seem to get to the other side of these tunnels anymore. Almost in a if you can't beat them, join them situation. Momentum is clearly down. But as I said, a lot of times, I'm not convinced that pullbacks are opportunities to short when I'm not seeing closes in areas that need to be closed, which again would be these bands. It looks like we're getting a decent rip at this point.
We went right down into that. I see we went right down into that zone and came right out of it, huh?
Came right out. Right. Got some momentum that's worth looking at. I get to try out my Tupac trade today. Hopefully. Mo, put a stop in at 53.25. Stop for 1 bar. See if anything happens in that area.
At what price?
A long stop, 53.25.
You mean 3.25?
Yeah, like I said, 51.03. Make it. Put it on the close. Put it on the close of an up bar is really what I'm trying to do. I'm still working around, messing around with this.
What you talking about? You going long?
Yeah, let's see what long does in that area, 03 area. Just kind of drag it down by the bar. Looking for an up close.
I think we're dragging. I think I'm lagging on your chart, man. Sorry. I'm gonna have to.
You know what? I'm looking at my lag as well, and I'm saying maybe I'm the one that's lagging. Just cancel that whole thing.
Do you wish to quit?
Like I said, I'm
Do you
gonna
really want
continue
to
to work
quit
on this
now
in
when
the
you're so
background.
close to the ultimate end?
Oh, there go my girlfriend. I'd love canceling orders just to hear her.
That chart is actually lagging. Not anymore. I see. Looking at my dome, it's on. No, it's not lagging. It's not lagging. Last quote I got is 5,100.
Yeah, you're not lagging.
You want to put it back? Let me know. You actually thought about buying there at the top of that Bollinger Band, or almost at the top of that Bollinger Band?
Bollinger Band's got some room. It's not meat on the bone. My stuff is lagging pretty bad, but yeah, I basically this little gadget I'm running right now would put me in at the close of an up bar. You remember that POC rabbit hole I went down this weekend and I've been up all night on?
Okay. Okay.
And I said I would work on it in the background and just don't announce much of it, but I don't know. It pays to be adventurous. Looks like we're getting some falling delta at this point up in these pivots, though. See if we can salvage it. POCs are stepping. And there that nullifies the trade that would close below the last POC. And sellers are back into control of it.
I was going to say we're coming back down into that zone again.
Exactly. It kind of nullifies. That's why I'm continuing to work with this, because it tends to nullify itself. Just kind of playing a POC game, folks, just to let you in a little bit. Playing a POC and just paying attention to some tendencies of walking up, walking down. What's breakouts, what's not. So this basically has us looking short at this point, just based on those. We did take a little peek out of yesterday, huh? A little piece between cheek and gum.
Old commercial, man. Stop telling your age.
If they haven't figured it out by now, believe me, I've announced it enough times. Old crow. I started with ticker tape.
I'm sitting up here reloading the chart, so you might get a slight delay right now. Okay, it's back up. I'm starting to lose a little faith in Ninja Trader, man. They're gonna make me switch to Trade Station.
Or Sierra charts.
I'm not. We were just talking about that the other day. I'm not having that conversation, man. I can't. I'm not doing it. They're gonna make me switch to Trade Station, man. The only thing is, you got so many developers now that are catering to Ninja Trader. I don't even see TradeStation on the list anymore.
What the? Am I?
NASDAQ cash has gone down on the negative side, not much, minus 30. Dow is up only 50. That tells me, I call those my trusty dusty indicators. So that tells me right there's not much going on today with the Dow. So E-mini is going to be in a small range today too. Oh yeah, we're at a doji on the daily now. Not quite an inside day. It did dab a little bit on the outside on the down, but it's basically unchanged for the day. This thing is moving sideways like a report is getting ready to come out, man. I don't see anything. There's nothing important that's supposed to be coming out. I'm kind of lightening up on some of these indicators I got running on these charts. Anything that's redundant, I'm lightening up on them because all I need is a cum on one chart to give me my indication on which way I really want to go. Morgan say just accept and suck it up and get Sierra. Is today going to be a dead day, man?
Some.
Yesterday was an exciting day. I was out and about, but today is going to be a dead day, cum-wise. It's already 10:30. That's 10:30 Eastern time.
She'll put down there. Thank you. Nice move. Fifteen verses.
What's the last quote you got, Magic?
29, what is it? 93.
Yeah.
5093.
Okay.
Got 15 versus 48 on the bids, pivot to pivot. 5,300. They didn't pick up buyers, didn't lose sellers. Wow. So it's a double bottom in all kinds of ways. Nobody knows.
And just looking at looking at this chart, you're looking at the pivot at 1024.08, right? And
I'm looking at the pivot at versus the 1038 pivot that's
Right.
being made right now. Yeah.
Right.
I'm anticipating it to be a pivot. Yeah, it's the beginning of one.
Yeah, that pivot down there I'm showing last time it dipped this far down. We were looking at a cum of 64.72. In the current bar, we're at 6,500 right now, so the buyers are coming back into that. Tempting. It's only tempting. Only tempting. Seems like we got quite a bit of resistance sitting up here. Right around 1 or 2 or something like that.
Certainly wasn't a raggy or a round number. That 5,100 got straddled this time as opposed. Well, it did come up and retested before the drop.
Yeah.
But it's playing both sides of that.
I think I'm gonna have to do like you and create for Ninja Trader, that is.
Yeah. You know, we're at a point right now that the immediate momentum is really starting to wane to both sides. It's like both sides need to prove themselves. Because structurally, I know you could get your little box out and draw it. Yeah, ever since we had these issues getting into the bottom tunnel. And you can also notice these bands are starting to get in a very sideways action.
Tight.
Yeah, that a lot of times, just seen so many times that you can sell tops. I mean, sell the tops and buy the bottoms a lot of times on this, and probably get away with that 2 or 3 times before you get caught. Long as they're sideways. I guess you guys have noticed I tend to not look very much for breakouts. Based on a lot of condition, I just don't look for breakouts. They don't seem to last very long in my eyes. And I've had a little conversation with a couple of folks here about that. You know, I have no problem with somebody feeling differently because one of us are going to lose either way. So, but no, I tend to look at it from the perspective that on days like this, nothing goes in a long way or in a straight line very often. So it's got to have some place to stop, some place to go. And I just take the idea of accepting the risk when it gets up there. If I get away with it, I'll accept the risk when it gets down there. Depending on conditions, a lot of times I'm leaning one way or the other. And I'll buy on the bottoms and won't sell the tops. But the condition of the bands itself is really dictating to me how I'm visualizing the market. The funny thing about it is somebody else can use an entirely different approach to this, come up with the exact same conclusion. Or if they look at it in a way that I'm going to say my partner would, he sees it, he just won't play it. there's a certain condition he likes in order to have his trades as well. Exposure is one of those reasons I would expect. He doesn't want to stay in a trade too long, and he feels like this isn't going anywhere. Good analogy. But going down to a smaller time frame could be one approach. And, picking off a few scalpers. I know it's got to be a few scalpers around that could use that type of approach. Just knowing what kind of condition you're in. Just a little tip. A lot of things about Bollinger Bands are not etched in stone. They really do give you a lot of value when it comes to just the formation alone, which is actually how your, I don't know if it's TTMers in here, but that's really kind of what it was all started with when it came to that squeeze play that people wanted to visualize or even quantify. Everything came from something. I think Top Step and I had a conversation not too long ago about, there's nothing really new under the sun. It's just how you wrap it. It's like Ninja Trader's probably a trade navigator in disguise. You don't even know.
This is your kind of action. This is sideways action, man.
Sideways action.
You're usually drooling at this kind of stuff, man.
You got me talking, man. I've really got to get used to trying to do something in the background as well as, paying attention to what's going on. Because you're teaching me so much during these sessions, I just have to really stick to it,
You're full of it.
And quite honestly, that it's a joke, but it's not a joke, folks, because a lot of times your viewpoint of the market, when you're trying to bounce off yourself and you're your only yes man, it's not always a great idea. To have someone that looks at things totally different, can really put you on another level for your own trading. So never pass that guy that that you don't think knows much. There's a lot inside, when it comes to just some experiences that you could take a little something from. So when I joke with him a lot about, getting something from him, more is like the fact that I don't trade like you, dude. But there's so many valuable things that I think even, well, I know a few of you have actually put some comments in here that made my eyes kind of say, you know what, I can get a pot of coffee tonight and really take a look at that. So, yeah, please. Open to ideas. Don't make it too complicated, though, because I got a little dyslexia going on.
Looking at things backwards. I think you invented that, man.
I'd be the perfect contestant on Family Feud.
Yeah, we are definitely freezing right here in this zone.
I mean, we're dead center of yesterday's range as well. It's like, take your pick, who you favor, what you like. No numbers to compare per se, unless the bottom is the only thing that's giving you any kind of indication of possible reactive points. I think Morgan was talking about right around 90 anyway.
Yes, volume is very low, Morgan. Very low for anything to happen. $2,700, $6,400, $900, $2,100. Yeah, volume is very, 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 very low. Kuhn plus 6,200 really not doing anything. days like this, man, confirms my cumulative threshold right around 8 to 9,000 before I make a move. It just confirms what I'm always thinking about the cum delta and making and taking trades. I like to see it headed towards yesterday. Perfect day. Wasn't at home yesterday, but when I came home and looked at the charts, I said, "Oh my goodness."
Oh, we talked about that. I didn't have anything at that area. I think it was like noontime. You said you wanted to really introduce that. Since we're slow, man, it might be a good time. But yeah, you were talking about introducing that anyway.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm sitting up here and I'm gonna wait for a minute. Because I'm definitely my computer is acting funny. and that, but I'm getting real time, no lag on the data, so I'm not going to push it right now. Might have to wait for tomorrow or something for that. I'm going to redo my workspace. I'm going to redo my workspace. Yeah, yeah, Morgan. I did notice that a whole lot of speakers going on with the Fed this week. Whole lot of speakers going on with the Fed this week. And they're talking at different times too. I guess they want to affect the currencies. Haha. I guess they want to play with the currency market.
And right back off and see if we can run it back down. You don't have my 6R tonal chart, do you?
Yes, I do, sir. Pay the toll. Pay the toll.
Pay the toll. Just wanted to show the relationships I'm looking at, how this has run all the way up to the 6R top tunnel while we're in a downward bias at this point, in sideways actually for everybody else, yes. But how the reaction came off of just a sideways condition. This would totally turn around on a day that we're trending, but just kind of giving a relationship of how these bands work within a multi-time frame. So again, yeah, if you had a good downward bias, you know, getting up on a smaller time frame, Bollinger Band may lend you a little something, as well as, you know, in that area coming out is much less exposure as far as your risk reward.
This thing is starting to move like it's moving on news or moving on my man speaking. Whoever's speaking, he's moving the market.
Actually, what happened? You said something about how dull the market was, I believe.
That was your indicator? That was your indicator.
Usually is.
No, Morgan. I don't think nobody wanted to short into their support. It's because it held for a while.
It wasn't a committal on either side after we got to got into these low 90s anyway.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to make a committal to say I'm holding anything.
Got that cum delta just falling, fell below that moving average. What's that up there? Minus got a little pivot up there. Then on that pivot on the footprint, we went from plus 488 to minus 324 with min max. Yep. Okay.
Hard to get a 500 or better at a pivot. Actionable numbers, high volume, and stay committed afterwards. This is the first run that we've had that, well, early run. I'm sorry, shouldn't have said that. First middays.
So let me ask you guys out there who are listening, who pays attention to the cum delta, and you know, and I think I've only seen like maybe one or two footprints where you could set the delta to reset at the end of the day, or just let it accumulate, you know, over the amount of time you have on your charts. What do you guys think is better as far as the cum delta is concerned? Do you think a reset using a reset is better? And that's a reset at the end of the session. Because just like the profile chart I'm using here, this guy doesn't use a reset on his cum delta. But you know, it's a lot of the signals just seem to be making a lot of sense though. And I also notice his deltas are a tad bit different. 724. Yeah, his deltas numbers are a little bit different too. His delta, you would probably consider them being way off, but you know, still has some validity to it. But I'm just wondering, is there really a difference? Or which one is better using?
Yeah, Morgan doesn't use it, but he did say he could get it from a native source, though. Stick it to him.
Back to the TDU chart. Yeah, Morgan Delta, cum Delta lets me know. It gives me a good idea who's in charge for that particular day, whether it's buyers or sellers. That's one of the reasons why I think I told you, that's one of the reasons why I look at the cum delta. And then when it comes to comparing numbers, like you just saw Magic do earlier, you look at this pivot over here, cum delta 62.54. Then when you got a pullback of a lower high, cum delta is 43.91. So it's just a good way of comparing numbers, seeing where the difference is in the buyers and sellers. And that's the same way I also look at the delta also. I look at the delta and the cum delta basically the same way. Yeah, you say you just prefer look at the bar delta in the area of interest. Yeah, you know, Michael B was just talking about that a little earlier. He said he likes looking at the delta bars. And I don't play the divergence game at all. I can't stand it. I am not a divergence guy at all. That's a whole nother rabbit hole, man. I've been down that rabbit hole. I didn't like what I found when I went down there. You say you did see an interesting setup using the 60 EMA on the Cume Delta. That's let's go back to that chart for a second, because that's the chart I was just looking at, and this particular chart right here, nothing but a regular chart, but I have the Cume Delta, and I have I think this is a 9-period EMA running with the Cume Delta. So this is what I look at, and notice how when the Cume Delta hooks up towards the moving average, then right here you got a pivot right here. That's when my eyes go to a footprint chart. Then I can look at a footprint chart and see what those numbers are up there and see if I'm getting any signals up there. Then I can make up my mind and decide to do what I really want to do. So, yep. Big drop, man. That was a pretty big drop. We're down 10.
Tell me.
Down 10 now on the Dow, basically unchanged. Here's the daily. Basically, we're looking at a doji on the daily, but of course that can change anytime now. That can change anytime now. NASDAQ almost looks the same. Dow futures, same, almost the same thing also. So we blew through that support. I'm surprised that fair value gap did stop. Blew right through it that time.
Run back up. Look like we got a little more room to go up this time. Bands opened up a little some more. See if we can get up and back into this resistance area. I like the pullbacks at this point in time. Getting a little, Morgan, we're getting little reactions up here now, little small topping reactions on small time frames. Looks like it wants to take one more small leg and retest. You might be right in that area.
If you guys haven't checked out the past 5 or 6 videos on the Valto's channel, I would definitely say watch those videos. And because he looked like he's averaging one video per signal now, so he's just he looked like he's going down the list as far as discussing certain signals on his footprint chart. Very interesting information he's talking about there. Of course, there's no affiliation. I just think it's good information.
Baby.
And for some of you guys is watching who has never heard me talk about this, I discussed this in a couple of videos. You know, whether you get TDU, whether you get Valtos, or whatever footprint you're looking at, it can be overwhelming to have all of those signals checked off and look at all those signals at one time, especially if you're not familiar with footprint. I would suggest uncheck all of those signals, look at a bare chart, and check off each signal one by one. Check off one, then go look at the chart. If that's not what you want, check off another, then go look at the chart again. Look at those signals one by one, and then you'll get a good idea of which particular signals you want running on your TDU or Valtos or even the profile bars. But whatever footprint you're using, look at those signals one by one. That way you can get familiar, become familiar with the chart, become familiar with the signal, and so on and so forth. And that's probably the best way to approach reading footprint charts. Because I know the first time I looked at a footprint chart, I said it's got to be an easier way of looking at these signals. And you have to literally stop, like Magic said, get yourself a pot of coffee and look at and go over those signals one by one. And that's how I became familiar with the signals. And then you start to know what you want to see and what you don't want to see. Where we at on the Cume? We're plus 5,100 now on the Cume. Now, if this bar closes down and we get a pretty big delta, that would not be a bad signal, but look like the delta is not going to be that big. And I will be comparing, say like if this bar closed down like minus 5 or 600 on the delta, I will be comparing that delta to this pivot up here, and that delta is minus 160. So I would like to see a big rush of sellers coming in on this bar. That's how I like looking at the numbers.
Your ask is 82 versus 97.
And the ask is 82 versus 97. Currently 82. That could change though.
But not if it goes back up. I mean, not if it keeps going down,
Now
I
if it
should have
keeps
said.
going down, yeah.
Yeah, we got some sellers to step in.
Not enough though. Not enough.
No, that's not a real actionable number, but it is a Tupac trade to the sell side.
And actually, we got the momentum on the profile bars going positive. Both averages. They're going green, not red. You got pretty good keen sight there, Mr. Morgan. Haha. He says no, they may kick it back up, and that's exactly what I'm looking at on the momentum too.
Mm.
Exactly what I'm looking at on the momentum. On these profile bars, notice this momentum down there. The momentum peaked down at 11 minus 1165 right before that turn, right before that last pivot, and all of a sudden now it's going green. The momentum is going up on the 3-bar and 5-bar momentum average. Those are momentum averages. So very, very interesting, Mr. Morgan. Very interesting. What you running over there, man? You got the secret holy grail? Share it with us, man. I think you got a whole lot of gadgets over there you're not sharing with us, man. You're not telling us about all your gadgets over there, man. That's right. It's all in thought. You only go as far as you believe. That's right. You only go as far as you believe. I don't know if you guys ever listen to a guy named Earl Nightingale, but if you want to listen to somebody talk about thought and go down that path, Earl Nightingale definitely is a motivator. Market sweep. This signal right here is a market sweep. You got market sweep, you got the min max, you got stack delta. Might get a little action here. Let's see what happens here though. For some reason, I'm thinking short, and the QM delta is positive. I don't want to get caught up in this chop thing called chop.
I think I've done myself a service by just kind of sitting on my hands for the time being.
Yeah, when you don't know, if you're confused and you don't know what to do, don't put on a trade. You'd be better off just sitting on your hands. Very well put, Mr. Gray. Yeah, we're starting to get a little action here to the downside, even though the market is going down also. The Dow is down 50 now. NASDAQ is down 71. think I'm gonna rename this. I think I'm gonna rename this trade room. I'm gonna call it the Coffee Footprint Trade House. Something of that nature. I don't want to copy off of Raggy though. I think she has coffee and charts, or charts and coffee.
Yeah, but my coffee is good.
Got a big delta coming up here, or it's flashing anyway. Minus 500 now on the delta. Got a min max flashing.
Single print.
Single print. It's only flashing. Nothing hasn't been etched in stone yet.
Yeah, it would be a pretty big acceleration from the last bar if that was to close down. So much for that idea.
So much for that. Dead bar, by the way. Sellers couldn't pull it off. Sellers could not pull it off.
Yeah, you got noise on both sides of all of these bars.
Got price action divergence on the Valtos chart, and we got passive buyers accumulation distribution there also. Not enough to make me move though. Just because I get signals doesn't mean jump. I had to learn that the hard way. I'm pretty sure some of you guys been down that road too.
What makes you move, Mo? Just what is it that makes you move? Inquiring minds want to know.
You gotta have security clearance to figure that out, man.
Ah, boy. I tried, folks. Sorry.
Morgan says he likes that long side. Only thing is, man, we're caught in the range, man. We're not getting no follow through on this, man. This is enough to really make me just stand still. This is really enough to make me stand still. Strictly sideways action here.
Wind towers all over the place. Up, down, up, down. Are we getting ready to experience at least one little giant step for mankind?
Are you still doing that? You still doing your research that you were doing yesterday?
I am. Yes, I am. I came up with a name. Don't kick yourself, Morgan. Don't kick yourself. And believe it or not,
another bus will be along. That's my saying. What you going to say, Magic?
right now my lab has me in a short trade from around 50 and what 50 85 and a half, 3/4, somewhere in that area.
Right. But it's chopping, man. What would keep you out of that chop like this?
Well, actually, it's put me through the chop. It just had me sitting there because the stop doesn't move until it goes someplace.
Right, right.
You know.
Okay, we starting the delta's starting to grow just a tad bit here.
The last
Just a tad
target
bit.
would be somewhere around the bottom tunnel in that area, just in front of that. But yeah, overall it's done pretty well today, even in this condition. I'm kind of surprised.
Right.
Kind of surprised. So maybe I can hopefully reveal this next year after extensive research and put a trademark on it. But I guarantee you, there's so much that I literally found on my own, and then go into a Valtos class. And you know, this is what happens when you dig at stuff. But I go into a Valtos class, and that's the exact terminology. Well, not terminology, but that's the exact subject matter that he's talking about on that given night. I said, you know what? I was looking at that 3 nights ago, but it happens that way.
And actually, Morgan, you're looking at 15R bars, man. That's, you know, in situations like this, 15R does keep you out. But when you do take a trade, if you just get one completed bar after you get in that trade, a lot of times, more times than not, you probably hit your target. If I'm not correct, let me know if I'm not correct on that. That's one thing I did like about looking at the 15R. You get 1 bar completion, you didn't hit your target. You're at a break even trade. Well, my ATM strategy is to set up like that anyway. I get up like 10, 12 ticks. My runner is break even plus 1 tick minimum. Immediately. Got fading momentum to the upside. Fading momentum to the upside. Doesn't mean a thing, because we're actually starting to grind down to the downside here.
Morgan, those smaller time frames really they can be helpful, but if you keep your eyes on them, they tend to lie to you too much. That's one of the things that I found about multiple time frames. You know, you really got to make sure you're fixing your eyes on the working chart, which in your case would be the 15R. But if you have specific locations that you like, your smaller time frames then start telling you the truth. You know, and if it doesn't tell you the truth, here's the good side to it. You're exposed on a 6R chart, not on a 15R. You know, so you can look at that a few ways. It's you know, I can see somebody saying, you know what, I can do this twice before I might get stopped out once and still be able to take the trade and make money on the 2 as a combination. Some will say, you know what, if I can get this to go on the smaller time frame and I just lose, 7, 8 ticks, I'm real satisfied with that, and then take the same situation that Top Step made, will say, you know what, another train will come around. There's so many schools of thought around that. I think your Holy Grail is probably going to explain to you exactly what you feel comfortable doing. But those are some open suggestions to how you might want to handle the smaller time frame. They get in the way until they become important to you, which is when you get a certain condition or especially a certain location that you're ready to pull the trigger anyway. So it's kind of a small confirmer without the risk exposure.
And one thing Mike Valto said in one of his classes, you know, when your discipline and all that stuff comes, when you start to really understand that stuff, the discipline and, you know, seeing the trades and just pulling the trades exactly how you want to see them. And me and Magic, we always tease each other about that because we say, you know, Magic always say, man, you're looking for the unicorn. Yes, I want to see a unicorn trade. That's what I'm waiting for. And you might not get trades every day. You might not get trades every day. And that's what I'm really starting to see here and understand here. You know, looking at footprint charts, you might not get a trade. You might not get a trade today. Whereas somebody else might be looking at something else and they might get a trade. But what I'm looking for right now, I see sideways action slightly to the downside. Cum Delta 4,500. And I might not get a trade today. And a lot of times, Magic could tell you, and it's probably him too, a lot of times we're pulling off trades right between 9:30 and 11:30. After 11:30, things kind of slow down for me.
You got to wait even more then.
Yeah.
It's to pack your patience or get on with your day after 11:30, you know. But if you pack your patience, there's some sweet opportunities. You just got to wait a lot longer in between.
That's 11:30 Eastern time. Because I know Chester, Chester's on the West Coast. And actually, if you're on the West Coast, what's that? You got to get up at what? Even if you start trading the bonds, you're up what at 5:30? You got to be in front of the screen by what 5:30? Wow! But you got the rest of the day to yourself, so. And you got that beautiful weather over there. And you learn a little something from everybody. And one thing that I did or do pay attention is Futures Analytica. That guy, he has a time where I forgot what he calls those modes, but it's sideways modes, and then you're breaking the trend out of the swing. That man, and that's what I do here. I actually, you know, I'll draw my range, and I know if I'm in a range. You know, I don't make moves inside of ranges. And it's got to be outside of range in order for me to make a move. And right now, we're definitely inside of a range here. It's not as tight. And then, too, looking at 12-hour, yeah, we are kind of tight, but it seems like we're grinding down. But
yeah, we've got a double bottom with at least numbers after that fading momentum. Then you come back down and retest. You've got a 5 on the bid side, 17 on the ask. Sellers aren't interested in those 79 areas.
Oh, you say Morgan? You say he got caught faking results? I never heard nothing about that, but still, you know, the information that you learn from other people. That's the point I was trying to get across. I didn't know he had got caught, but that might be hearsay or whatever the case might be. But it's a lot of people online and this is why I opened up this trading room. I said, I'm not seeing no trading rooms where people are actually trading live online so you can actually see the ups and downs of trading business. I just can't, you know. I said I like to open up, I just like to do a trading room where people exchange ideas and you see and there are not too many trading rooms, not ideas, but trading rooms where you see people trading footprint live. I think you got one, maybe two. I did see, and in this room, one room was locked. This guy, I don't want to throw a name out there, but I want to say it could have been Jigsaw or MZ something, the footprint. One of those rooms had 16,000 subscribers, and that room was locked. 16,000 plus subscribers in that Discord room. And then you got Futures Flow. I think he does pretty well. He trades live on the internet, but it's only 2, maybe 3 rooms out here that are trading live with FootPrint. And a lot of people look at the FootPrint chart and they look at the numbers and they say, I'm not messing with that shit. And they leave, man. Don't let the FootPrint intimidate you. Don't let the FootPrint intimidate you. Once you sit here and look at it long enough, it's all going to start making sense. We're approaching the day's low, I think. 75 3/4. Is that today's low?
I did not look.
Yep. We're rocking and rolling now. We're in fast market, and yeah, I'm lagging by 15 seconds right now. Oh, somebody done said something, man.
Yeah. Morgan, this was worth the wait of missing that other trade. Makes everything just right. You sat around, you waited. See, if it wasn't for just sitting around talking about trading, you'd have never been in front of the screen again. You'd have gave up, went home, and went on about your day. I feel like I'm responsible for that 15% I just got out of your pocket. Very nice run. We stretching the 71.5, or you getting out?
And got a POC wave there, and that's one of my dislikes about the Valtos. It doesn't have no alerts. So if you're not looking directly at that chart, you're going to miss that. You're going to miss that trade.
Question about that, because I have not hooked up I haven't gotten that password out of Valtos at this point. Question about that.
Did you send him an email?
I haven't sent the email. No, I haven't even done that yet. I've been up all night, still didn't do it.
Okay.
You can see that you pretty much can eyeball a POC wave on your charts, correct?
Right.
Okay. So if you're looking at your FootPrint chart and not Valtos FootPrint chart,
right?
Wouldn't you naturally refer back? If you see,
you know what I did. That's what made me look back at the chart after that run. I'm like, that was a POC wave up there, you know. But what I didn't do is what I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to go ahead and set that POC wave alert on the TDU chart.
Yeah, because I think if I see any POC wave, it's going to make me look back at his chart.
Exactly.
You know, have a FootPrint chart in your own corner.
Exactly.
To pull up when you see one.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what made me look back, and I said, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna set those alerts this evening.
Yeah, Morgan, that's exactly the kind of thing we're trying to push when it comes to putting FootPrint together. I mean, it's a bunch of stuff up there, you know, exhaustion prints, delta, buyers gave up, wave 2 if you're counting the fibs. A lot of reasons you would want, and really one didn't stand by itself. If you really think about it, you know, it's almost like it sucks you in. You just happen to be on the end of this. That's a real good move. But yeah, again, stressing more than anything. You want to learn FootPrint one at a time. One at a time. I'm sure it's taken one. Yeah, I'm sure it's taken you a long time to get to this point, even to make that decision. But I think that's one of the better suggestions, actually, to just strip your chart and put one signal at a time on it. Pot of coffee may turn into two, but at the same time, get to know it. And as you walk through it, this is the best thing about it, though. You get to see the little idiosyncrasies that you totally miss because you're so focused on trading during that real-time period. But during quiet time, walking something forward or concentrating on one particular signal, you get to see how far against you, how much heat do you take on that most of the time? How far is the average run? I'm not talking about how far do you see it go when it goes 10, 12 points, but, if you got in this trade, what's the average run that you say, I'm going to lock this up no matter what? That's that first target. It's either going to be a mathematical target. We're talking money management now. It's either going to be a mathematical target to say I'm not going to lose money, or it's going to be an imaginary target that you see a line on the chart, wherever that target might be. But you need a hard target someplace because you will find yourself running willy-nilly just waiting sometimes. So your homework really can dictate how far you can hold a run or not. You also will see those idiosyncrasies. I think not just recently, Top Step took a trade and he had a hard target, but then as the market moved and as information started building, he started moving his target out of the way, just pulling it back, pulling it back, pulling it back until the market just exhausted. But you get to see those type of idiosyncrasies when you're researching something on one end and you start realizing that, oh, wow, I see this over and over, over and over. And the next signal may be actually the signal that you've been looking at over and over as well. So build a library, understand each book, but be ready on any given day to use just one page. That's pretty much what FootPrint is about. Man, I'm getting kind of philosophical over here.
That's the old man coming out in you, man. That's the old man coming out in you, man. Man, look at those sellers down there.
It has run pretty much evened out the day, just like it was at doji time. But now we got a little momentum. I was kind of eyeballing somewhere around the mid-50s on the daily charts. I didn't expect us to get quite this close today based on yesterday's range.
So we broke yesterday's low. We are now on the outside.
Yeah, we're literally an outside day.
Yeah.
If we had the cumulative delta to go along with that outside day, this would be what you would consider to be kind of one-way days.
Exactly. Exacto mundo.
Okay. Again, up to the 6R top band. If you like shorts, might not be a bad area to consider something if you see something. 6R short term, just an area to consider if you get anything else to go with it. Just talking to the Bollinger guys. That is a huge gap. 50.80,
Cash
50.61.
is down 114 now. NASDAQ cash is down 133. So we are falling. Somebody done said something.
Got that right. I actually had had that same gap marked on my daily chart, and I just never let it stretch far enough. Kind of got caught off the chart. But yeah, we've got a 20-point gap that started, I think, if not mistaken, the 21st of February to 22nd. Big gap in there, about 20 points. And it's definitely started to enter that gap area now. So you could almost call it a back and fill. Let's see what we used to call this in my time. We used to call this a push zone. It's like the market was such a refined machine. Every time you saw these gaps, you would expect the market, not today, not tomorrow, not 5 months from there, maybe 10 months from there. It didn't matter. That gap was expected to be filled. So that's on a daily basis again. It's a family-friendly show over here, Morgan. I hate this angle. This is that 230 angle on the clock. I just hate this kind of slope. We were just talking about angles. You like 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. But this is really...
This is the up channel. Slight up channel.
Exactly. The angle alone turns you off.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're still up in this 6-hour top tunnel zone. So I'm at least looking for an effort to go down. And again, folks, you know, this is where we were talking about the smaller time frames tend to lie to you. Yeah, they tend to. And that's why I say this is an area of consideration. If you were already considering it, this is one more layer on top of it. But this is an area that I would expect. And remember, this is a small time frame, so expect small time frame move that hopefully will turn into a longer time frame. If you have a downward bias, this may be giving you enough to just push your toe out there and not risk as much.
Got a potential POC here with price action divergence. Flashing. It was flashing. Not anymore, though. Buyers took over. Buyers took over again on the Valtos.
Probably in about, what, 10, 15 seconds they did that.
Remember we was talking about the swing?
Yes.
Yes. I'm looking at the chart, and that's how he was doing it on the potential swings.
On potentials, okay.
Yes. On potentials.
So his signal flashes, his potential pivot flashes
right when it's
until it's wrong.
Right, it flashes, but you got to wait for the bar to close.
Correct.
That answers my question I asked you this morning.
Yeah, we were in a bit of a discussion talking about the pivots on the Valtos, because we realize a lot of your pivot programs will also wait 2 or 3 bars after the pivot to actually confirm. And we were just wondering how his tended to come in on or at that pivot. But it's an anticipatory signal.
Pivot, at the swing
pivot. At the swing pivot. Yeah, I'm sorry. Your fault. My mistake. Your defined swing pivot. Correct. Whether it's 3 bars, 5 bars, or etc.
Right. But yeah,
but
it doesn't start flashing until it has made that
it
swing.
flashes.
And then when that bar starts to create, like it's doing now, it's flashing.
Right. So if you get a down bar, you're going to get a confirmed signal then
That's going to be confirmed signal, right?
on anticipation of a swing.
Right.
Got it.
5 period swing because I left mine set at the default.
Okay. All right. See if we can get a push.
I would like to see a POC wave here also. Don't look like it's gonna happen because that POC is sitting up there at 74 and a half, and the first bar is at 73 3/4. So that doesn't look like it's gonna happen.
There's a dead momentum too.
Ah, see, wasn't paying attention to that. Yes, dead momentum also. But that moving average momentum. Speaking of momentum, notice the moving average momentums are little green, starting to go negative now. So I am keeping my eye on those moving average momentums, 3 period and 5 period on the profile bars. So that was not a POC wave, but you did get a price action divergence and passive sellers accumulation distribution
In other words, a
at that
ton of other
pivot.
stuff.
At that pivot.
Correct.
That answered my question about this morning. Okay, I see what's going on here. And one thing,
Kind of brings up.
one thing you want to do, guys, is when you get software, you want to understand why a signal is coming. You just don't blindly take them. You want to understand why that signal is happening and so forth. And that's one thing that Mike Valto's FootPrint does help you understand. He goes through his manual, or in his manual rather. He explains to you, and in the videos, why this particular signal happens. So if you decide to get TDU, and I got both, you know why. Then you know what you're looking for in TDU in case TDU doesn't have that particular signal. That's how it catches that pivot. I got you.
I actually thought you were going to say what I was thinking, because also what I was thinking about was, when you do get a piece of software, it's a very good idea when you're testing it, after you think you've walked it back and running them through a coding and all of this, walk it forward live, because a lot of times the signals don't always come in exactly like you think they do.
Yep.
They may be 2 or 3 bars delayed. They may be ghosted until it's right. And when I say that, I mean, you may get a bar that shows you a signal, and then after a couple of bars, it'll change to the bar after it, before it, or actually disappear.
I've seen indicators like that. Yeah. Repaint.
Yes.
Those are what you call
So,
repainting indicators. Yeah.
right. So always walk it forward. Even on your own signals that you come up with, you may find that the entry that you want to use for it ain't quite working for what this really does. So everything matches. I think I said the other day, every facet of what you do when it comes to trading, if you take it seriously, is a new rabbit hole. Your exit is a rabbit hole all by itself. Whether it's
Tell me
scaling
about it.
it, was what happened. Your entry is the same way. So take each facet of each part of the trading as a separate entity altogether. But yeah, walking forward, and all of a sudden that's it. Wait a minute, I thought I saw that signal up here, and all of a sudden it's gone. literally played tricks on myself thinking I saw something and took it because I thought I saw. Trades over, it's like, wait a minute, I thought I saw.
Yeah, because when I loaded that swing indicator up, I'm like, wait a minute, how is he catching those right on the point? So it starts until that bar is complete. It starts like this one is flashing down right here. That's a swing 5 down, but it might go down more. So it's going to keep repeating that until that bar is complete.
And if you don't know, you might get in front of that saying, oh, well, this is gonna finish like that
Oh man,
anyway.
please don't talk about running ahead of signals, man. I used to do that, but you were the grandfather of that.
I will take onus for that. I mean, I look like a genius when it worked, you know.
Yeah.
But after it was over and you were on the wrong side of that, you always ask the exact same question. Why did I do that? That's normally the first question you ask yourself when you go in front of something you think is about to happen. It's more of a psychological, guys. It's, okay. All right, back into some. Got dead bar 135. No steam. The buyer, somebody's really trying to hold on down here. Some of these buyers just don't want to give up the ghost.
They don't believe.
They
Fright
don't.
night. Welcome to Fright Night. You have to believe, Vincent. Do have a POC wave down there on that turn, and of course that was a swing. That was the beginning of a swing period 5, so that's why it printed down there. POC wave with passive buyers, but I'm more so leaning toward, for some reason now, even though that cum is the plus 3600, I'm leaning toward the downside now. I'm looking for the ultimate short.
You basically have you've got cumulative and trend and a lot of other things, but everything is fighting each other. Nobody's agreeing totally with anything.
Exactly.
You know, a sweet day with this kind of thing, you'd have maybe 7 to 10,000 cumulative to the downside. You've got an outside day. The daily's doing great, you know. But there are a lot of factors in this that say we're not going straight. We'll get where we're going.
Right.
But you got to read the tea leaves today, or just don't fight it. That's the hard part. Hi, Morgan. Oh my gosh. The markets can offer some very tempting situations, I tell you. But I'm with you. As far as trend momentum, I'm leaning more toward the downside. I can't really claim inside day action anymore, although we're acting like an inside day. I've got small time bands rolling to the side, medium term bands sideways, prices in the middle of both of them.
Yeah, when
No real action.
prices in the middle of those bands, you do not move. Basically, don't, right?
I'm not interested. No, unless it's coming from one side or the other. But no, we're living here.
Uh-huh.
I've got moving averages to the downside, cumulative to the upside.
Right.
Everything is not in agreement. And you want those days that you say you're a genius just because you threw a dart at the board. Theoretically, the range has gotten so small, you could take the 6R and those bands are those bands just going straight across, and prices right in between bands on smaller time frame. A lot of straddling going on, no committal. Good time to wait on the action. Maybe you have a trend 12, counter trend at 1, and then pick up the trend at 2. That's kind of the things that happen after the 12 o'clock hour. Usually the direction, and I'm just going to throw this hint out there, prove me wrong, and please come back and tell me. But usually afternoon time, whichever way we're going, right around 1 o'clock, you should get some sort of a counter move to the trend. If you don't get a counter move around that 1 o'clock area, expect it at around 2 o'clock. So that's kind of, if I'm there long enough, that's where my head is during those hours. You really have to wait out what you think may or may not happen. And again, once something is proven, then you're just going to have to join them, or else you will be beating your head against the wall. Because I know I started today out with a slightly upward bias on the inside day. And that has totally changed based on information that's come through today. So I think you do yourself a favor if you're open enough to saying, you know what, this might not be the right way to go, as opposed to waiting for that losing trade to decide maybe I need to go the other way. Been there, done that so many times. That's another psychological discipline play. You swear that you got the right direction, and you take that trade, you lose that trade, you reassess that you should have been assessing in the first place, and you realize you're going the wrong direction anyway. Yeah, we're dead middle. So, cup of coffee, good movie, put an alert on, say, if you get below this or you get above this, maybe I can, join some action. That might be one approach as well. Or quit for the day. Nothing wrong with a little green.
Yeah, that price action divergence and that passive sellers up there, that last swing on Valto's chart, that would not have been a bad scalp. Would not have been a bad scalp at all.
Have you looked at any of Valtos on a small time frame to see what kind of stuff spits out on any given signal?
Nah, I refuse to look at it on a small time frame chart.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick to 12, and I might do like Morgan and take this up to 15. I might take the Valtos up to 15. I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure yet.
Hey man, I don't have no problem with you and Morgan being up there with the Chester bars, man. You know what I think.
Explain to him what Chester bars are, man.
Chester bars comes from a personal experience of ours. We got a buddy out in California that when we were trading on a 6R, 8R chart, he was trading 3 minute, 5 minute, looking for the exact same thing. And a lot of times he would be in a trade. We'd be in and out of a trade, pretty profitably. He's still waiting on his move. So I call any bars that tend to extend beyond a scalp. And I call a scalp 8-10 ticks. Anything that extends beyond that, I call large bars Chester bars. But I put a little twang on it and I call it Chester bar.
No, Morgan, I'm guilty. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged.
I did look at CL though. I was very curious about CL for an hour.
Yeah.
It's a bit interesting. I got a little work to do there, but that does
I
look a
promise
bit
you,
interesting.
Morgan, I will set it up by tomorrow. We will be looking at bonds on Baltos. Promise. Four range. I'm gonna set up a 4 range chart on the bonds. We'll be running tomorrow.
No disclaimer, man.
No disclaimer.
All right.
That's on a not held basis. Hey, by the way, Morgan, did you try what I said about getting your Baltos chart to work on your Ninja Trader?
I was about to ask the exact same question.
You try cleaning up everything and just reinstalling it with the new Ninja Trader, and then try running from there. And then too, I don't know how much stuff you got, man. You might have a whole lot of stuff running, so. You can't upgrade your Ninja. Apex told me not to do it. All right. Apex told you not to do it. How many evaluations have you actually passed the evaluation on the Apex? How are you doing with that? I'm looking at both, Amira. Okay, Morgan. Yeah, I have Valto's chart running on one side, and I have TDU running on the other. I have the screen split in half to run both of those charts.
Yeah, taking a real good close look at some of these newer signals that's popping on the Valtos charts.
Yeah. So that last signal up there is a swing 5 also, Magic. But see how
And it popped on the close, came in on close.
Yeah. Yeah, but my question, and remember my question, I say, yeah, but what happened if it's chopping? It's still counting that as a swing. Not bad programming. Got retail sucks is flashing. That bright green line zone you see down there. I think I'm gonna change that color. That's retail sucks. Don't ask me what retail sucks is. I just know I read it in the PDF, and I decided to put it up on there after looking at the results on past history. I forgot, okay? Guilty as charged. Matter of fact, I'll pull up the definition of it right now. Retail sucks. Retail sucks. Retail sucks. That's the accumulation distribution. Retail sucks. There it is. That's the definition of retail sucks, Morgan. That's the definition of retail sucks.
Now, teacher, we would like you to read it to us and explain the whole thing.
No, You gonna have to go buy pay Valtos for that.
I got the PDF. I just didn't get the program to open.
Matter of fact, man, you need to send him an email right now, man.
Yes, sir.
You
I
kind
need to get my.
you kind of drag when it comes to that stuff. Send him an
I'm
email
waiting
right now, and send him. Well, I think he does it off of your email. I think he has everybody's email who owns the.
They should.
I don't know if I forgot if he asks for a key or not. I don't think he asks for a key. I think he just assigns a key to you based on your email. I think. Don't quote me on that. That's on a not held basis. Now I don't have the ratio set for swings because I kind of like want to see the ratios at any time because you might see exhaustion and all that other stuff, exhaustion and defense at any time, and I kind of like want to play that by ear. But the other ones I have set to swing period 5. So if ratio does pop up with the other stuff, I know that's a swing. That's a swing period of 5.
Got it. You know, that's something that I've had to play with a little bit because I'd like ratios on one bar, first bar pivot or second, and I wish you could get that option where you had that flexibility. Guess you can't have everything.
No, you can't.
That PDF came with it came actually with the download.
Yeah.
The same time you download the program, you can download the PDF a little bit further down the page.
Right. Matter of fact, that's one of the videos he talks about. He talks about retail sucks. And he's been putting out a video probably every other day now talking about one of his signals, just dedicated to that particular signal. He explains what's going on in the bar, the delta, and all that other stuff. And those videos are pretty good. He's dropping some pretty good information in those videos.
Let the man work, Morgan.
Don't get me worked up, Morgan. Don't start that, man. Don't get me mad, man. I'm trying to be cool today. You get me thinking about that, man. I might go off in here, man.
You know, I got my own philosophy with that. What he can't have in technology, he is really, really trying to make up for it in new information and different ways to put things together. So let's call him the ideas guy.
No, he's the godfather of FootPrint, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I need him to answer this next email I'm sending, though, Tom. That's for sure. All right. Looks like we're trying to make a statement down here. Riding the rail, as we would call it. That's a pretty strong signal. Let's see how long we can stay beyond the other side of these bands.
So a full bar back inside those bands will constitute a pause, right? Or possibly run up.
We are literally in a strong situation because we have a full bar open, high, low, close on the low side of the band. So until we bring a full bar out, I don't expect a whole lot of rotational move. This would be considered a fairly strong move to the downside, just based on Bollinger Bands standalone. So if we start getting that hesitation down here, and then we're starting to come out of those bands, that would give us a sign that, yeah, this might become a bit rotational. We may need to pull back a little bit more before we can continue down, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't denote whether it's going to be a turnaround, whether it's going to be, it's just an area of reference more so when you have a standalone like this. This would represent us being in what we call a stop run to the downside until we can get a bar out, and then we maybe get a challenge that doesn't get in. Then we enter another condition, which would be somewhat of a what we call stop run over retest. So it's kind of one of these areas you want to start looking at again.
Got a fair value gap that just popped up on the charts, so that's a 5-minute fair value gap that just popped up on the charts. That gap is from, or the zone is from 65.25 up to 72.25.
Of course, it would stop its butt right there in the middle of all of the trash. 72, that would put us at a lower high if you even went to the high of that.
I also
And
placed that indicator below one of the videos too. You Gary, say something, Magic?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of stress something to people that may be in this and just looking for ways and different ideas again. Something as simple as structure of the market is so important. You know, I don't want you to overlook something so simple, you know, because, yeah, I got it. I can see a higher high, higher low, what have you. It can be more important than you ever know. They've got a situation where you use Renko bars, and that is one of the main ways you can view structure in a very clean way. But structure can be very helpful, and I tend to consider structure a lot of times before I make a trade. Whether it's structure on small term, long term, what have you, you know, a lot of times it's telling you, without looking at numbers, it's telling you where your upward pressure or downward pressure is. So please don't overlook such a small thing it may sound like as structure. It's one of the real basic foundations of trading.
Is this a pullback for a short trade, man? Is this what we're coming to here?
Got that nasty 4 up on the 12R, which would in my mind dictates I think we're going to see at least another level up before we try to turn down. Yeah, momentum-wise on the MACD differential, that was a dead momentum bar. Even though it finished on the min, it's a lot of people that got in that bar. In fact, the deltas increased quite a bit. The min delta increased quite a bit on that last bar. Showed that there was some commitment of sellers. Morgan, you can't resist. You know, that's one of the fights we have when it comes to say a 12R versus a 15R. A lot of times you're seeing extremely large deltas, and I'm seeing nominal deltas broken into 2 bars. We used to have that fight a lot as far as what's right and what's not. It's neither one's right. You just get the signal on a 15 and you don't see it on a 12. But a lot of times when big deltas are coming in on a given bar, on a smaller time frame, it might be broken up into 1 bar, 2 bars, or 3 bars at sometimes. So it can be deceiving.
And that's what I miss about the 15. You're right, Morgan. That's what I'm not seeing on this 12 is the big deltas on that I was seeing on the 15.
Right. Now we're starting to kick some big deltas on the 12s.
This might not be a bad sell here, seeing as though we're in a zone here. Not getting no sell signals. Nothing heavy to telling me to get in right here though. Got a min max on the TDU and nothing on the Valtos at all.
You can get a down close, you might get a little wave, but it's not going to have a lot of sell committal to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I'm not getting anything that makes that says get in here. Even the momentum on the profile bars is positive. We're plus 1,200 on the momentum. That's on the 5 period. The 3 period is plus 400.
We're getting a huge pop in volume. It looks more like a fight as opposed to committal.
We are going down on the cash now. We're down 111 on the Dow and 162 on NASDAQ.
Now, did you get a pivot POC wave?
I got to put wave. I got a wave.
Okay.
Nothing with that wave though.
Of course. I just want to see how these signals are coming in.
Yeah, after going back in history, I said anytime that wave comes by itself is not as strong as something coming with it. But this is your pullback right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now you need to see a closed down bar, right?
Didn't get the POC that I needed to fall below the 2 bars back.
Which POC was that on the up bar?
12-11 bar.
Right.
On the up bar.
It missed it by a tick or two, missed it by 2 ticks.
Correct.
Yeah, but
correct.
You're in the zone, man. This you didn't get that denim they passed out, man. You're in the sell zone here, man.
Hey man, I get all of that, but I'm trying to follow a signal, so I gotta at least take it when it shows.
I know.
That's the hard part.
I'm gonna type up in the denim and put the sell zone in there, so at least so you know. This is a short.
Oh my
trade.
gosh, this is saying a whole lot. Yeah. Let's see how far you can move it. I can help you down to 59. I can maybe help you down that far.
Let's see what happens.
Is that enough?
Let's see what happens here. Entry is 61 3/4. First target is 58 1/4. Yeah, this is might not. I'm looking at this momentum on this on these profile bars. Kind of going next. We need to. If this bar closes down, we okay. If this bar doesn't close down, it'll probably get stopped. And it was inside the sell zone is another reason why I took that along with the stuff I'm getting up here in the sell zone. Got a min max, got a ratio. Then you got a plus 608 on this down on one down bar, and then another down bar. You got a minus 136. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, Morgan, that 12-15 bar literally put you in a fix. Was it a pullback for the momentum that came off the bottom, or was it the beginnings of the turn to go back down? That was a tough call. I really did truly get your point. I mean, it's
And actually, that's
still hadn't totally finished it.
yeah. Actually, I thought about putting that stop at the encroachment. That's 22 ticks on that. I'm gonna bring that because if it gets down there, it's gonna keep going, man. Let me move this. Let me put this at 40 ticks here. Delta really wasn't big enough. It's probably going to make one more up bar, then turn around and go down.
And that will probably give me a signal on this mess. It just broke off it.
Yeah, I think I jumped just a tad bit too early. We'll see though.
The volume came in on the phew, buyers. They really shot a load on that. 1400 on the max delta. That 12-15 bar really made a statement with the volume as well. If buyers can't hold it and push it down any further, that's a pretty sign for longs trades, I tell you. Because after that fight right there, if they didn't get tired, they're supposed to keep pushing it to the downside. Now we got 10K.
On the volume.
So volume has definitely.
But that delta, that delta is not big enough to push down yet. Yeah, that was a tad bit too early. Tad bit too early.
That's all, folks.
You know, much as I love Porky, I hate him.
I got a feeling I'm gonna have to get back in at some point. I didn't want to move my stop though. I don't like moving the stop.
64.50.
Yep. Stop was too close. Stop was too close.
Don't run, baby.
Ah, don't do this to me. Stop was too close. Yeah, we're headed down, Morgan. We're headed down. My stop was just too close. I should have put it at my gut feeling told me to put it at the encroachment, which technically speaking, that's where it should have been from the beginning. And the encroachment is the halfway mark between that fair value gap. So my stop should have been dancing somewhere around 69.25. I don't like that kind of heat though. Yeah, we're gone. Momentum is definitely building towards the downside on this trade.
I didn't get Phil.
Ah.
That was a signal for me there. Yeah.
And I just knew my stop was too close. I knew it. And what was my entry on that? My entry was 61.75. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd been sitting at break even with my runner now. Let this be a lesson, guys. Sometimes you just gotta put your stop at that pivot. There was no excuse for that.
Well, that brings up one of those areas. Do you play the chart or do you play your pocket?
I should have been playing the chart. I should have been playing the chart.
Your entry got you in. My entry kept me out by using limits.
Yeah, that was three. That was 3 points on that.
Yes.
That was 3 points on that low. It looked like it's headed back down there. So yeah, I should have been playing the chart. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
You know, I just realized that one of the things that makes it a little difficult today is that you're not getting consistent numbers that you like to act on.
Yeah.
You know, you're seeing part of what you want to see,
Yeah.
and it makes it very difficult to really commit. Especially, I think I had one trade earlier that I lost the trade, but yet, okay, this is saying get back in, but it's hard to commit. So it's, you know, the numbers alone aren't inviting you back in.
No.
If you're playing comparative numbers where, okay, 200 versus the 700 will look, you know, a lot different as opposed to saying I want some actionable numbers over 500 to give me some confidence that, you know, somebody's in charge. It's a very different approach. So I guess it's at this point you got to accept what you decided you're going to do. You can still try this short if you want to, man. I'll allow you to try it if you'd like, you know, right here. Giving you a ratio, single print, got a trap, inverse imbalances going on. You know, if you'd like to try. I have no signal though.
I don't either. I got min max on that pivot.
Yeah. I mean, you got a few things going on.
Yeah. But that delta is really not there yet.
And then your cumulative's no longer with you either, so it's a lot, like I said, a lot of fighting going on.
Morgan's still long. You still long, Morgan? I'm gonna wait for the breakdown. We're down almost 100 now on the Dow. We're going to get a signal. It's going to come. If the Dow breaks. NASDAQ is already breaking. We're down 186 on the NASDAQ cash. 100 even, 101 on the Dow cash. Yeah, deltas are not quite calling my name yet. And see, every time I pull a trade like this, it just confirms my feeling about pulling a trade when the cum delta is not in your favor and all that other stuff. Follow through is very hard, in my opinion.
You don't want to catch a local bus, man.
Nah.
Okay.
I want,
All right.
I want a greyhound.
Exactly.
I want a greyhound. I want the fast running dog. Yes, fucking stop was too close, man. Jeez.
Et tu, Brute? It is 12:30. Do you know where your kids are? Folks, I think today was very, very helpful to let us at least get over a few points. But I tell you, trading was not an easy day. I, I, I don't even want to. I'm too embarrassed to tell you how my win-loss ratio was. But I ended up with a small gain today, just based on some background lab work I'm doing. But today was a very, very difficult day in my opinion. Just a lot of things were not confirming. And if I guess the lesson for the day would be if you set your thresholds at certain points, if you don't get them, you don't join them. So, I hope everybody has a really good day. And I am going to be checking out unless Mo wants to throw a few more nuggets your way.
Nah, it's 12:30. You're right. It's that time. It's that time.
But I am certainly glad that everybody that does show up and listen to us, we really feel good just letting you in on something that we do on a daily basis, talk markets. Whether it be on a political basis, talking the markets, as long as you keep the markets as the focus, we're very, very interested in opinions. So please have a good day.
And see
We'll
you
see you
tomorrow
tomorrow.
morning. Yep, see you tomorrow morning.